welcome back. So today I just wanted to show you strictly how to put in a zip. So I did my last video, which you probably watched, which was, making a zippered pouch. So I wanted to focus just on the zip attachment in case anybody had any troubles with that. And what I'm going to do is angle my camera a bit closer to my machine so that you can see down onto exactly what I'm doing to give you a better idea of how I'm using my zippered foot and how it's actually attaching. So we'll do the attachment and then we're going to do a top stitch as well to hold it in place. So I'll just move over to my machine. I've got my trusty zip and I've just got a piece of scrap from my scrap bin. Just for today, I'm going to unpick it in the end so I can reuse my zip. So I'll see you in a minute. So what I've done, so for the sake of this project, just showing you how to attach only the zipper. So I've just got my scrap fabric and I've just put a zipper in line with the top of the fabric. So it's face down. If I'll unpin that and show you. So that's the right way up. You want it face down. And I just pop a pin in which weaves underneath the zipper teeth and back out. So you want the top of the zipper to be lined up with the top of the fabric. And now we'll go and sew it. So as you can see, I've still got my normal foot attached to my machine. So we need to take this one off and we're going to swap it for our zipper foot. So if you look at the zipper foot, you can see how there's a groove on each side of the bar, one side and that side. The needle's going to go down on either side of that depending on where we attach it. So there's a little bar that runs across the top there. You can see that there. And that little groove in the middle there is what separates each side of the zip. So when we attach it, we need to choose which side we're going to attach because that's what's actually going to help us sew as close to the zipper teeth as possible. So I'll show you how to do that. I'm just going to detach that. So we pull the little lever at the back and it pops down. I'm going to put that there. Now, I've got my zipper teeth on this side. So I want to sew down here. So if I attach it on this side, it's going to sew over the edge, which is not what we want. We want it to sew as close to the zipper teeth. So I'm going to attach it to this side so that it goes as close as I can. And you get just a nice clean finish. So I'm going to put that there. Just my little lever down and it attaches and I can pop it back up. I want to start sewing on the inside of the metal, which is the end of the zip. So I'm going to put that under there and then pull my lever down. And I can see that I'm nice and close to the zipper teeth, which are about there. And I can see that my needle is going to go down onto this side of my foot, which is what I want. So I'm going to just put the needle in. Always start with your needle down. I'm going to remove the pin that's holding that in place. And now you can see, like I said, the needle is on the inside of my foot as close to the zipper teeth. It's not on the zipper teeth, but just because of the shape of the foot, it allows you to get nice and close to that zip. So going nice and slow, and I suggest going nice and slow for anyone who's never sewn before. Oops. Now my machine has a speed adjustment on it, so I'm going to put it just to the slowest one for the sake of this project, and I'll show you. So we're going to sew. We do a few stitches forward and then we want to do a back stitch. So we reverse, do a back stitch, and then we can sew down. We want to take our pins out as we go. We're holding our work. We're not pulling the work, we're just holding it, because the feed dogs underneath our plate have little grooves on them and they attach to the fabric and pull it along. It doesn't leave any marks or anything in your fabric, but it just helps grip and pulls your fabric through. So all you need to do is just hold your fabric in place. Okay, so getting to the next pin, we're going to take that out. Now, as you can see, the end of my zip is here, and I want to sew up to the end. So what we need to do to make sure we have a nice flat surface, leaving your needle down in your work, lift your foot, and then we open our zip. Sometimes it needs a little bit of a jiggle, but that was nice and smooth. There we go. And then just following the same line, just holding your work in place with your finger. You're not going to be sewing over your finger. Holding it in place, maintaining that straight line. We want to go to about there, just in front of the metal. So we're going to do our back stitch, a couple of back stitches, then we're going to go forward, and that's holding our zip in place. Now we're going, now my machine cuts my thread for me and brings my needle out. So I'm going to do that. So you always want to bring your needle out first and then lift your foot, and then you can remove your project. There we go. So we have now attached the zipper to our fabric. What we want to do now is we want to do a top stitch. I like to press my fabric. So I'm going to take this over to the iron, and not ironing your zip, but only ironing your fabric. You just give it a little bit of a press. You just want to make sure that you're pulling the fabric down gently away from the zip, because you don't want anything being caught up in the zip. So we sort of, you can finger press it, so finger pressing along there. I like to give it a press with the iron, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to do the top stitch. So I've pressed my work, so as you can see there's a nice crisp edge running down, so I've manipulated it just ever so gently, pulling away from the zipper, and I've given it a press with my iron. Now I'm going to show you, as I said before, depending on what side of the zip you're sewing on, it depends on which side you need to use with your foot. So as you can see, because I'm now doing a top stitch, I want to change my foot over so that I can sew straight down this line. Now there's two things you can do here. You can either swap the foot to the other side, or you can put your standard foot back on. And if you were to put your standard foot back on, it would run down the side of the teeth and you'd be sewing on the fabric, which is what you want. So you can do it two ways. But I like to use my zipper foot because I'm generally not finished, attaching a zipper. So I don't want to keep swapping feet, which is why I tend to do it just with the zipper foot. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to detach my zipper foot, and I'm going to move it over, and then I'm going to attach it. There we go. So now it's on to the other side. So when I put this under, you can see that it's where I want it to be. So originally it was on that side of the foot, and you don't want your stitching down there. It's too far away from your seam. So if I swap it over like I have, it means I get a nice clean top stitch along the seam. So that's what we're going to do now. So again, starting just on the inside of our metal piece, we want to put our needle in, always starting with our needle in, and then we're just going to do our top stitch. So just following that straight line, using your foot as a guide, go straight down that fabric, And we're just holding our fabric, just keep it nice and straight, maintaining that nice line. Now I'm coming up to my zip, so foot up, needle in. I'm just going to open my zip. A little bit awkward because of parts of the machine. There we go. So foot back down before we start sewing, keeping our work nice and straight, holding it in place. We're going to go down just to the metal piece, so we're pretty much in line with the stitch we did along the zipper originally. We're going to do a back stitch, and then we're going to go forward. Okay, and then that's pretty much it. So we're going to needle up and then foot up, and we have a nice top stitch. So we'll just move to the table where you can see that a little bit more clearly. So there we have it. We have attached a zip to our piece of fabric. So originally we've stitched along the zipper, so we've followed the zipper teeth, and then we've flipped it over, flattened our fabric out, and we've done a nice top stitch straight across there. And that just, it not only does it look nice, but it holds the fabric in place. It makes the zipper more secure, and it stops the fabric from rolling up into your teeth. So if you were to be, you know, opening and closing your zip, the last thing you want is loose fabric going into the zipper teeth, because it'll end up getting stuck. It can tear the fabric and whatnot. But anyway, there you go. That's how we do a zipper. And there we have it. You've attached a zip. So one zip attached to a scrap of fabric. So follow that tutorial. When you're doing your zips, you can add them to pouches, you can add them to bags, but this is a very basic way of doing it. This is just if you're using 2 pieces of fabric and just want a zip. If you want to add a lining, there's another way that we need to add the lining, and I can show you that in another tutorial, but this is how to get started with adding a zip. So good luck.